Fear is the silent force running your life, shaping your decisions, dictating your relationships, and holding you captive. It's everywhere, yet we rarely confront it. But why? Because we're terrified of what would happen if we did. But here's the shocking truth. It's not external circumstances or people that keep you bound. It's your own fear, masquerading as rational thought, making you act in ways that only fuel your anxiety. Why are you still letting it control you? What would your life look like if you stopped hiding from it and started confronting the real source of your pain? What if the key to your peace has been within you all along, waiting to be discovered? If you're serious about your personal health, whether you want to stop suffering, get clear guidance on how to stop overthinking, or to be more present in life, now's the perfect time to subscribe to our channel. Like this video if you're ready to grow further as a person. Now, let's continue. As Eckhart Tolle highlights in The Power of Now, realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. This profound realization might just be the key to understanding why fear holds such power over us. Maybe it's not external factors that disrupt our peace of mind, as much as the stuff we encounter on a regular basis within ourselves. Fear. The pervasive influence that warps our perception of the world, colors our judgment, and dictates how we think. A lot of factors might make us nervous. Not knowing what to expect, the possibility of failing, losing possessions, other people's opinions, and being alone. We still have to cope with these concerns, even when we don't realize how tightly they've gripped our lives. But I'm curious as to why we haven't dealt with them head on. Why haven't we put more effort into understanding and overcoming our fears, rather than concentrating on getting ready for blatant dangers like war, failure, or loss? Tolle suggests that fear arises through identification with the mind. We often allow our minds to dominate our emotions and reactions, and in doing so, we become enslaved to fear. Think on this for a while. The United States invests vast sums of money toward military preparation, including the study and creation of new weapons, strategies, and other forms of defense. On the other hand, what about the inner struggle, confronting fear? We need to have put in equal effort to understand and defeat this power. Is this question not deeply disturbing to you? However, we continue to avoid it, no matter how absorbed we are in our careers, our dreams, or our relationships. Fear has a sneaky way of influencing our actions. What if, however, we could change that, rather than focusing on the symptoms? What if we could identify and address the root causes of fear? On the surface, those are the signs. Imagine for a second if we could collaborate to find and eradicate the things that really make us nervous. Understanding the expressions and ideas won't bring us very far. We need to dig deeper, examine the core of fear and how it controls us. Instead than evading the problem, let's solve it directly. Speaking, the truth is more important than ever before at this moment. Would you wish to begin this journey at this moment, so that we can confront the terror that we both fear? Instead of running away from fear, we should try to understand it so we can confront it with confidence and clarity. Then, and only then, will we be able to experience the unfathomable calm. Then I say, we begin. The origins of fear have been the subject of several theories put forth by mental health experts. They might have been nothing more than words if we could just put them aside. It might not have had any purpose under those circumstances. It wouldn't shock you if they're just as scared as you are. Having met a small number of them, I can tell that they are scared of something. Thus, we still don't know the answer to the issue of why. Is it possible for us to get rid of fear? We will investigate that. Consider this, Tolle says. You are not your mind. By freeing ourselves from our constant thoughts and judgments, we can begin to detach from fear. Think about this question from a logical and an emotive perspective. Keep going. It is impossible to avoid or understand. Determine the source of our weakness, or the reasons we give ourselves permission to be weak. What does fear mean to you? Physical symptoms of fear, such as a rapid heartbeat, a constricted chest, and a confused, nearly paralyzed intellect, are nothing new to you. I think you're aware of this. Is anything further necessary to be said? Exactly what you said. Anxiety, depression, distrust, and restlessness are signs of dread. A person suffering from anxiety tends to cling to something in the hopes that it will remain constant. As Tolle also puts it, whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you are withholding from the world. Fear is often rooted in the belief that something is missing, that we lack something we need to feel secure. But, in truth, when we accept the present moment, we find that everything we need is already here. If you want to make fear disappear, you have to deal with it from every angle. Oh, really? Is it okay if I told you which one? Remove the terrifying branches. Please pay close attention to what the person speaking is asking. Are you interested in discussing the outward manifestations of fear? An abundance of concerns is like a tree, dense with branches and leaves. The terrible emotion of fear can manifest in many ways. Why don't we figure it out together, or at least handle the expressions? It would be pointless. The speaker claims to prune the branches. So let's collaborate to identify what's making them afraid. All the signs of fear are familiar to us. Those expressions will disappear if we can just figure it out. When we feel afraid, what exactly sets off our reactions? If I were to ask you that, could you explain why? Asking, "Do you think someone will tell you what caused it?" is another possible line of inquiry. But descriptions don't make up facts. No amount of artistic rendering of a mountain could hope to do justice to the real thing. The word fear does not conjure very much emotion. Oh, really? For other people, just hearing the word fear could be enough to make them anxious. Therefore, the amount and severity of dread, rather than its name or description, are the problems. We are working together to find a solution, not that what I suggest is automatically accepted. Truth that you hold is unparalleled. No one person's version of events can keep you alive. The truth is sufficient on its own. Fear then becomes the question. What causes it? Was it even glanced at all? Could this be it? We can examine it. The past has no power over the present moment. Tolle reminds us in the power of now. Could the fear we experience be rooted in our attachment to past events, to what we have lost, or to what we might lose? Could our fear be a creation of the mind, an illusion that keeps us trapped in the past or worried about the future? I might die tomorrow. I might lose my job, together with I have money in the bank, but the bank may fail. Once these thoughts start to creep in, it's hard to enjoy the present moment to its fullest. An idea suggests, I'm all right with my wife, but she may turn to someone else tomorrow. In addition to, I have printed a book, and I hope it will be a great success. Everything has made me utterly terrified. When you think about the possibility that someone else is already more renowned than you are, your infantile desire for attention becomes even more apparent. Anxiety can develop when one overthinks things, even positive things, or dwells excessively on negative events, such as prolonged periods of isolation. I have felt the crushing solitude that comes with it, even though my loving family, my wife and children, always put me at rest. I thought you were unaware of it. Distant, icy solitude. Like you, I'm terrified of it. Tolle asserts, the more you are in the now, the more you become aware of the beauty and the silence that is always present within you. This is where true peace begins. The end of fear comes not when we try to eliminate it, but when we learn to be present with it, to accept it, and to let it dissolve naturally. It's time we stop running from our fears and start embracing the peace that comes from being fully here, right now. Do you ever wonder what triggers that overwhelming sense of loneliness? Does it feel familiar to you? Is what I'm saying resonating with you? It's what I'm saying resonating with you. It's strange how, in our loneliness, we tend to cling to things, whether they're real or not. I've clung to my wife, my friends, my beliefs, my rituals, even my social circles. When I do, I fear losing it all. For some reason, the mere thought of being alone brings immense anxiety. Have you experienced that before? It doesn't matter if someone lives in a community or follows a guru. Without their external identity, they're still left with a deep sense of emptiness. Why? What is the nature of loneliness and what causes it to strike? Because I no longer have any ties to the outside world, other people, or even the person with whom I once lived. In close quarters, I am overwhelmed by emotions of loneliness and emptiness. This overwhelming hopelessness is perplexing me. What I'm about to say may not be true, but I will try my best to explain it nevertheless. You can't focus on the word alone. Is it difficult for you to understand when it's plainly stated that my wife or my husband does not refer to the item but rather the speaker? At least it's comforting to know that you get it. Reality and truth do not offer a justification. We can pretend for the moment that the word loneliness is absent. Are you seriously convinced that you can handle it? Wishing to go into such emotions without utilizing terms like lonely or despairful. Being consumed by self-centeredness all day long might lead to feelings of loneliness. But seriously, isn't it true that narcissism causes people to withdraw from others? It has taken over my life in every way, and I couldn't be more disappointed. My God, I am so lonely is a common reaction among those who come to notice this. A deep change happens when you meet it squarely, when you become one with it entirely, not when you try to escape it. Hence, the topic of dread must be revisited. The terrible nature of thoughts has previously been demonstrated. Seeing a hearse with a casket, flowers, horses, and cars brings me back to reality, regardless of my age. Sophisticated nation rose above the ceaseless cacophony of death. As far as my understanding goes, thinking is an element of both death and terror. Can you make out what this is? That much is visible, isn't it? Dear patrons, please accept my deepest apologies. Do you not think that time itself could be a source of anxiety? My heart races at the prospect of what could happen, feeling concerned because someone is trying to use what I did as a weapon of blackmail. Perceive it. To be honest, that concerns me. Worrying, then, stems from a lack of both physical and mental resources. Take a moment to reflect. Is it not clear to you that time and thought are synonymous? Though I try to avoid using the word problem, it does a good job of describing the current state of affairs. Answering your question will require some time and consideration, I assure you. From here to there, you'll need to put in some time. Taking the bus, train, or automobile also involves some cognitive effort. Prior to investing in that level, you should give it a lot of thought. Oh, really? Since these are the sources of worry, is it essential to think and wait? Do you understand now? It should be present. But is it really essential to put in the time and energy? Oh, really? Are you sure that's clear? Anxieties will follow you like a shadow so long as you focus on the mental, emotional, psychological, and intrapersonal realms. In other words, unless you believe, as some do, that ideas are the source of all evil, you're simply paying attention to this, since time and thought are external necessities, but not internal need, nor acceptance. In the same way that you never allow the outside world into your domain, your brain is like a watchdog. It never lets thoughts or time in. In order to disentangle the significant from the unnecessary, maintain time and ideas apart from the entirety of life, and overcome the fear that has built up in the mind over many years, or even days, that requires a lot of concentration and self-reflection. True self-control and education are on display here. Our previous discussion has shown that the word disciple comes from the Latin discipulus, meaning learner. The difference between a genuine follower and someone who is just interested in bragging about their achievements is a dedication to continuous learning throughout life. The brain is constantly monitoring its own actions, leaving little room for modification or mobility. Is everything clear to you? At 12 minutes after the top of the hour, our meeting must end. The problem is that we take in a lot of information, know a lot about a lot of topics, have read a lot of people, and traveled a lot of people, and traveled a lot of people, and traveled a lot for knowledge, but we rarely make ourselves ask really deep questions. Whenever we ask questions, they are never that complex. Our ability to live fully diminishes as a result. If you want to figure things out on your own, reflective questioning might help. These require you to inquire about your own emotions, ideas, and the speaker's claims independently. Ultimately, fear is not an objective reality. Rather, it is deeply ingrained in our identity and decision-making process. A combination of our attachment to the past, our fear of the unknown, and our concerns about the future causes it to grow. But when we confront our anxieties directly, we see that they stem from our thoughts and the way we spend our time. Knowing that the mind is where fears thrive, we need to address the source of the problem rather than just its surface manifestations. As Eckhart Tolle says in The Power of Now, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. This insight reveals how fear is often a projection of our own minds, an illusion we create by thinking about the past and future instead of remaining in the present moment. Fear takes root when we allow thoughts about what could go wrong, or what has gone wrong, to dominate our minds. When we stop identifying with those thoughts and instead focus on the present, we begin to see that fear loses its power over us. Overcoming our fears and finding inner peace and freedom unconnected to our material concerns is possible via the practice of self-awareness and self-control. True freedom will come when we, in this journey of self-discovery, cease seeking gods or anything else external to ourselves. Freedom from fear and the ability to enjoy life to the fullest is ours for the taking when we engage in self-reflection and obtain wisdom. As Eckhart Tolle emphasizes in A New Earth, you are not your mind. By distancing ourselves from our thoughts, we separate ourselves from the very thing that fuels our fears. This simple yet profound realization allows us to break free from the mental patterns that cause suffering and discover the peace that lies beneath. By practicing mindfulness and being present, we let go of the narratives of fear that our minds constantly create, thus freeing ourselves from its hold. All that you think about yourself is false, Tolle writes in The Power of Now. If we could embrace this perspective, we would stop identifying with the fear-driven stories our minds tell us. By releasing these self-imposed identities and judgments, we clear the path to a deeper experience of life, free from the chains of fear. This shift requires presence, a stillness that is found not in the future or the past, but in the eternal now. By overcoming the fear that comes from constantly chasing after external things and external validation, we realize that true peace is not something to be found outside of ourselves. It exists within us, in the space between thoughts, in the stillness of being. The answer to fear, then, is not to continue seeking security and answers from the outside world, but to turn inward, to still the mind, and allow the quietness of our true self to emerge. Let's keep growing together on this path of self-discovery. Subscribe to our channel for daily inspiration and grow as a person. Comment the word "now" and like the video to show your support. Also, consider sharing this video with someone who could use some encouragement to slow down and enjoy life more fully.